If money disappeared tomorrow, it wouldn't happen with a big bang, but with a slow and painful unraveling that most people wouldn't be able to notice. The first signs would feel not like a catastrophe, but like a minor inconvenience. ATMs would limit withdrawals, bank transfers would be delayed for security reasons, and it would be announced that certain banknotes were being taken out of circulation. But no one would understand what this was the beginning of. History teaches us this: financial collapses don't come with a single dramatic event. They spread like a domino effect, and the first link in this chain is always the same: trust. Trust disappears before the currency does. Once trust is gone, neither paper nor the numbers on a screen remain. Only nothing. What is money, really? To understand this, you first need to question what money actually is. The coins in your pocket? The numbers in your bank account? No. At its core, money is a shared belief. A collective agreement that says this piece of paper, this metal disc, or this digital data corresponds to something. When this belief is strong, a single piece of paper can move armies, feed cities, build skyscrapers. But when belief cracks, no law, no government decree, no central bank policy is enough to repair it overnight. This was true in the Roman Empire, in Zimbabwe, and in Weimar Germany. The mirror of history. Rome's collapse didn't only happen on battlefields. It began in the mints. Silver coins were mixed with such cheap metals that over time they became worthless discs. Bread sellers refused to accept money anymore. They wanted wheat, olive oil, even chickens. Once money lost its value, the empire's economy fell apart too. In Weimar Germany after the First World War, inflation reached a level of madness. In 1923, prices doubled every few days. People were paid twice a day so they could spend what they earned before it lost value. Banknotes worth millions became worthless before they could be spent. A wheelbarrow full of money was needed to buy a loaf of bread. Money hadn't physically disappeared, but it had disappeared in the only place that mattered: people's minds. In Zimbabwe, the situation became even more absurd. Government printed $100 trillion banknotes. Think about it, that number sounds almost like a joke, but you couldn't even buy a few days' worth of groceries with those banknotes. Eventually those banknotes became souvenirs for foreign tourists. In Venezuela, people traded haircuts for food or smuggled goods across borders. The common thread in all these events is this: when the system collapsed, people returned to what they trusted: gold, goods, foreign currency. Anything, but not the national money. What would happen tomorrow? If this happened tomorrow in a major economy like the United States or the European Union, the effects would be both immediate and global. Supply chains depend on instant, trust-based transactions thousands of miles away. Without a functioning currency, ports stop, shipping ends, shelves empty within days. International contracts written in that currency become meaningless overnight. If bank accounts are seized, digital transactions also come to a standstill. But the real destruction would be not economic, but psychological. For generations, people thought their bank accounts were safe, their paychecks would clear, their retirement savings would be there. When this illusion cracks, panic takes over. People don't just lose their wealth, they lose the framework of their daily lives. The reality of alternatives. In crises, people turn to alternatives. In Argentina, the dollar became an unofficial lifeline. In Russia during the ruble crisis of the 1990s, foreign currency and tangible goods formed a second economy. Today, many see cryptocurrency as the exit door. But we shouldn't be romantic about crypto. It depends on electricity, the internet, and functioning exchanges. In a truly systemic collapse, all of these can be disrupted. This doesn't mean crypto would play no role, especially in local crises. Bitcoin and similar assets served as emergency stores of value. But in a full collapse of a global currency, this would be just one piece of a messy survival puzzle. Gold, on the other hand, has a much longer history. From the pharaohs of ancient Egypt to modern central banks, gold has been the universally recognized ultimate safe haven asset. When the Soviet Union collapsed, gold and jewelry were traded for food. During the Great Depression, when banks failed, those with gold had real bargaining power. But gold has its weaknesses too. It's heavy, difficult to transport in quantity, and easily confiscated by desperate governments. Indeed, in the 1930s the US government banned private gold ownership and forced citizens to turn in their gold. Rules change fast in times of crisis. Who survives? If money disappeared tomorrow, the first days would be chaotic. Supermarkets would be raided for essential goods. Gas stations would limit sales or refuse to accept the old currency. Small-scale barter networks would sprout up, a mechanic would repair a car in exchange for food, a farmer would trade vegetables for medicine. The black market would explode not just for contraband, but also for basic necessities like baby formula and batteries. The truly wealthy, those who hold assets with intrinsic value rather than numbers on a bank screen, would be the fastest to adapt. Over time, a new currency would emerge, but it wouldn't necessarily be issued by the state. In some historical collapses, private banks or large corporations issued their own notes valid in certain regions or sectors. In other cases, foreign currencies stepped in. After Yugoslavia's collapse, the German mark became the de facto currency in many regions. In a modern collapse, it wouldn't be out of the question for a major tech company to create a stable digital currency backed by tangible assets and get ahead of governments. This is exactly why central banks are racing to develop their own digital currencies. If they lose the power to control the currency, they lose power itself. The bitter lesson from history: money and power are inseparable. When money disappears, that power shatters, and what fills the void determines the new order. In Rome, the military and local strongmen stepped in. In modern times, international lenders like the IMF have dictated terms in exchange for emergency funding. For individuals, the lesson from history is brutally simple: if your wealth exists only within the financial system, it doesn't truly belong to you. Bank deposits, stocks, bonds, they can all be frozen, revalued, or erased. Real wealth is diversified, tangible, and above all resilient. It could be physical assets. It could be skills that others need. It could be trust networks that function outside the official economy. Those who emerge from a currency collapse with their financial freedom intact are not the ones who blindly trusted the system. They are the ones who understood that the system is only as strong as public belief, and that belief can evaporate overnight. If money disappeared tomorrow, the vast majority of people would wake up as if the world were normal, until they tried to buy bread, fill their car, or pay rent. The smart ones would have already seen the signs. Growing debt levels, inflation outpacing wages, central banks losing control, political instability, eroding trust. Novyron's mission is exactly this: to make sure you see those signs before it's too late. Because history tells us not only that money can disappear, but exactly how it happens and what survives when it does. The greatest irony is this: when the dust settles, when a new system rises from the ashes, those who preserved their real wealth will find the world has been reset. The game will have started again with new rules, new winners, but the same old human nature driving it all. If you've gained a new perspective on how fragile the financial system really is, don't just nod and move on. Think about what wealth means in your life. What could you trade, build, or hold that would still have value if the numbers in your account were erased tomorrow? Because money is just an idea, and when that idea dies, you'll want something real in your hands. If you enjoyed the video and it added something to you, don't forget to like and leave a comment. Subscribe so you don't miss future videos.